So this is the start of my fourth trip in the JetBlue 25 for 25 challenge. Started off bright and early at 7 in the morning on my way to the Tampa Airport. Luckily, traffic was really light, so I was able to get to the airport in pretty quick time. I decided to park in the short-term parking again since it was going to be less than 24 hours, so only $28, and was significantly cheaper than getting an Uber and saved quite a bit of time. Since I parked in short-term parking, I was able to take the elevator directly to the main floor where I was able to get to Terminal A, my dear old friend, and take the shuttle over to Airside A in order to board my flight. Once we got to Terminal A, it actually was a very quick route through TSA, and I was happy that despite reported interruptions in TSA due to the government shutdown, Tampa was running strong. I decided to reward myself with a fresh cup of Starbucks coffee. This is a really good time to remind you that if you link your Delta and Starbucks accounts, you're able to earn Delta points while you're drinking your sweet, sweet cup of morning brew. Since I had a little bit of extra time before my flight, I decided to poke around the gift shop. One thing I'll mention is that there are a ton of tacky souvenirs that are available in the gift shop. However, if you really want something that's specific to Tampa, I'd recommend picking up something from the Columbia restaurant. This restaurant is a true staple of the Tampa Bay area and is an amazing piece of local history. I probably have a bit of a bias towards the Columbia since it's where Alyssa and I were married many years ago, but I will definitely say that their souvenirs are worth getting. That being said, you really can't go wrong with Santa sitting on the beach adorning your Christmas tree as your next souvenir. Since our plane was waiting for us from the night before, boarding was right on time and we were able to make good time getting onto the plane. This flight was on a 16-year-old A320 named Etjay Lubay, or JetBlue in Pig Latin. As you may recall, this plane took us from San Juan to Fort Lauderdale 2 trips ago. Since I was flying on the same plane and the same seat back to back, I decided to do a little test to see how well they cleaned by putting a Travel from Tampa business card in the seat and seeing if they took it away after cleaning. Boarding was really smooth and we were able to depart earlier than expected, which led us to be able to get to our destination a little quicker. I perused the in-flight entertainment before deciding on War of the Rohirrim, which had mixed reviews, but I wanted to give it a shot. We were able to take off about 10 minutes before our expected departure time and had a very smooth ascent. As we made our way up to Providence, drinks were served, and I went with my traditional bubbly water. Next, snacks were served, and as is tradition, I went with the Biscoff cookie, and I settled in to continue my movie. Overall, there was nothing major to report about this flight. It was overall very smooth, service was excellent, and there was no turbulence to speak of. Finally, after about 2.5 hours, we made our way down into Providence. As I said before, since we were able to depart a little faster, we were also able to land about 15 to 20 minutes before our scheduled arrival time, which led me to have a little bit of time to check out the lounge. Unfortunately, we landed at Gate 2, and the lounge is located at Gate 18. So I had to power walk my way through the airport in order to make it in a reasonable time to have some lunch. I have to say that the Escape Lounge in Providence is really nicely appointed, although very, very small, which befits a very small state. Food choices were excellent, and they had a pretty comprehensive selection of caffeinated beverages and alcoholic beverages as well. Although the lounge was small, it had a really good amount of seating available. After spending about a half hour in the lounge, I made my way back to Gate 2 in order to board my flight. After pushing my way through the horde of gate watchers, I was able to get onto the entrance ramp and make my way onto the plane. I was really eager to see whether or not the seat had been cleaned, and lo and behold, the travel card was still there. Tisk tisk, JetBlue. Work on your cleaning, guys. I joke, of course, but in all reality, the seats were very clean. I decided to start a Lord of the Rings marathon in this flight and begin The Hobbit: The Unexpected Journey. Once more, we had a really smooth flight. I decided to go with bubbly water once again. However, I decided to get a bourbon cream for the road. Even though I wasn't drinking on this flight, it was free, and I decided to take it. During the flight, I took a little power nap, and after about 2.5 hours in the air, we landed safe and sound back in Tampa. I made my way back through Terminal A. It seriously felt like I had just been there earlier that morning. Oh wait, I was. The totals for this trip were 5 hours in the air, 1 airport accomplished, and 1 state added to the list. This trip brought my total number of airports visited to 15, which should net me 150,000 JetBlue points. In a bit of luck, Alyssa and I both had flights that landed around the same time, so I waited for a few minutes before picking up Alyssa and Lily and making our way to our car before loading up the whole family and getting the heck out of Tampa. See you next time, and make sure to like and subscribe for more travel-related content.